Hello everyone, welcome. My name is MJ Pestridge. Welcome to another P3D or another flight simulation video, in all honesty. This video is really going to benefit anybody using any flight simulator software as it talks about the drivers, the GPU drivers, which one is the best one to use. Now, disclaimer first off, I use NVIDIA GPUs, and that's mainly because I use P3D as my main flight simulator, and P3D is really an extension of FSX, which was created back in the architecture of Intel and NVIDIA hardware, so it is actually optimized best to run using that hardware. There's nothing wrong with AMD GPUs. I have nothing against them. They're really, really good. In fact, if not better than NVIDIA for current games and current softwares. But when it comes to the legacy of P3D, unfortunately, they don't utilize that program or get the best from it, or rather the program doesn't utilize the hardware as well as it does with the NVIDIA lineup. So this is primarily talking about the NVIDIA cards, but the logic of this video is identical for AMD or GPU, because we're talking about flight simulation in general, and this talks even against, like, with the Microsoft Flight Simulator, which is most current flight sim available on the market. Again, I use P3D, which is a bit of a legacy product, and I tend to stick to a GPU of a certain build. Okay, now, of course, anybody who uses an NVIDIA graphics card will say, will tell you, like, as soon as an update becomes available, you get a notification here pop up on your screen, and everybody rushes to their GeForce Experience to quickly download that said driver, and they sit there and they're waiting for it to download, and they're like, what kind of optimizations am I going to receive? It's gonna be awesome. And generally it's a big disappointment, because nothing will happen, or you'll actually get more crash to desktops than you did before. I am under the influence of the mind of saying, never just update your driver just because there is a driver update if you're using P3D or any other legacy software. If you are using, say, Microsoft Flight Simulator or current softwares, then yes, keeping that graphics card up to date will ensure you have the best experience. But I use P3D primarily, and for instance, right now we are moving into the 5.2 patch. We're in 5.1 plus a hotfix. Now, 5.1 came out last year. Came out actually about this time last year, in fact. And then the hotfix came out, I think it was like September, October of last year. So if you think about it, the developers, when they were creating that hotfix, it was about this time last year when they were developing or putting together that package of software, when they were building it. Now, it might even been later. It could have been August, September of last year when they were putting together that package to then send off to the beta team for them to test. So really, the best driver that I can use is one from last year, one from, say, September of last year. That's most likely going to be the most compatible with my version of P3D. When we move into 5.2, because as of this video, it hasn't actually been released yet, that was most likely being put together sort of August to October of last year, maybe even November. So that a driver from November of last year is most likely the best driver I can find to make best use of P3D. Now, of course, some developers do get early access to drivers and features that then get put into a future update of a driver, but I've never found that to be the case with P3D. I always find that using legacy drivers works way better than using current drivers, and so my driver that I'm on is from November last year, and when we move into 5.2, I most likely will not upgrade. So I don't come running to GeForce Experience to install the latest driver. So I would say leave it out of this if you are running P3D. If you're running current games and applications, then yes, update your driver, and using GeForce Experience is totally adequate and fine. But myself personally, I use a program called DDU. DDU is a dedicated driver uninstaller who basically his primary goal is to cleanly uninstall this, ready for the installation of a new driver. So first steps first in walking you through how to do all this is, first thing you need to do is go to your NVIDIA website, or wherever your drivers come from, and download the driver to your hard drive. You want to have it on your desktop or in somewhere like in videos or music or pictures, ready, or even in downloads, ready to install. You want to have it before you even start the installation process. And that's mainly because it's slightly different with the way Windows is incorporated into the update of a driver. We have a control panel with NVIDIA that used to be bundled in with that driver installation, but now it actually is installed separately from the Microsoft Windows Store, and it's Windows that handles that installation of the control panel. But it can also install the latest driver without you realizing it if you're not quick enough to install the driver. So first things first, the best thing you can do is actually disconnect yourself from the internet first. That will ensure Windows does not install the latest driver if you're installing a legacy driver. Then you need to put your PC into safe mode, which obviously I won't do for this demonstration, but you need to be in safe mode. I use a program called Windows Repair, which I highly recommend. It actually is good to repair the Windows operating system, and if I right click on that, I can easily reboot to safe mode using this. Just one click of a button and it's done. I don't have to go through the task of doing the old, this route basically, which is it's a bit of a pain really. So there is that one. When you're in safe mode, you literally then boot up this display driver uninstaller. You select the GPU and NVIDIA, but it will also work for AMD as well. You then click clean and restart, and that is it. That's all you have to do. There is no sort of options that you need to configure or anything like that. You literally just click clean and restart, and boom. And when your PC restarts, it will try by default to download an NVIDIA control panel, but you won't need to. You just literally go onto your driver and click install and install that driver, and then when it's installed, turn your internet back on, reboot your PC, and then your control panel will be downloaded. Or you can do a quick search in the Windows Store for the NVIDIA control panel. When the Windows Store pops up, you could literally search NVIDIA control panel and download that separately yourself. But once you reboot your PC, that should do it for you. And that is it really. That's how I manage my drivers on my PC. I find that I hardly get any crash desktops using this. When there is an update to the driver, I kind of just ignore it, and I wait until the application of P3D is updated and then get the driver that matches that one. So in 5.2, I'd recommend getting a driver from the autumn to winter of last year, somewhere between October to November. Or even possibly December, which I already have installed right now. So that's what I recommend doing with P3D and drivers and flight simulation in general. Even with Microsoft, if you think about it, when they do an update, which is generally every sort of 2 or 3 weeks, what driver were they using to create that update with? That's the driver you want to be using, not the latest driver with your PC. So find that information out, use that driver, unless you're playing games that are up to date, that are the latest and require, like say Cyberpunk or something, and then requires the latest drivers. That's the only instance to upgrade. Anyway, thank you so much for watching this, guys. I really appreciate it. Watch out, there's more helpful videos coming for flight simulation. Thank you for subscribing, and that really does help me in my channel. And I've noticed that there's about 80% of my viewers that don't subscribe. Really, please, hitting that subscribe button helps me immensely to be able to carry on and be Dr. P3D for the community. So thank you for watching. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one.